Welcome to our Communiversity Today, a community affairs program from West Virginia University Institute of Technology in Beckley, hosted by Dr. T. Ramon Stuart, president of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, working to make a difference in Southern West Virginia. Guest opinions expressed on this program may not represent the opinions of West Virginia University Institute of Technology or Southern Communications. And now with today's program, here's Dr. Stewart.
Well, good morning, and I want to welcome you to our Communiversity today. I'm Dr. Ramon Stuart, president of WVU Tech here in Beckley, and I'm so thankful that you chose to be with us today as we explore our Communiversity. As always, I remind you that I believe Communiversity means the community is the university and the university is the community. And so as we join together today, you think about where Southern West Virginia, or our state as a whole, has been. You also have to think about where it is, but more importantly, focus on where we could or should go. And one of the things that drives us on where we can and should go is the economy. And by far, you've been watching the news and you're hearing about tariffs, and you know about some of the declines in Southern West Virginia in terms of the economy over the years, especially as we look for new and innovative ways to address a reduction in actual workforce in our coal mines, although the metallurgical coal that we produce here in Southern West Virginia remains some of the best coal in all the nation. And so today we're going to explore this topic of economic development. And I have with me someone extremely special in the studio today. I have the person that I call West Virginia's economist. And that's none other than Dr. John Deskins from the WVU Chambers College of Business. And Dr. Deskins is here after being with us for Future Forward. And I also have another special guest by the name of Samuel Houston. And Samuel is a 10th grader from Floyd County, Virginia, that's with me as president for the day. And so today we're going to explore the topic of economic development. And so our goal on Communiversity today is simply this: to answer two questions. Why not us, and why not now? So right after this break, we'll be back with more Our Communiversity Today on News Talk WWNR.
WVU Tech's Regents Bachelor of Arts degree is crafted for adult learners like you. Flexible, affordable, and tailored to your goals. You can even earn credit for work and life experience, giving you a jump on completing your degree. Whether you're finishing a degree you've started or shifting to a new career, WVU Tech provides the resources and support you need to make it a reality. Take the next step at wvutech.edu/admissions today.
And now back to our Communiversity Today on News Talk WWNR, 620 AM and 101.1 FM, and online at wwnrradio.com. Here's Dr. Stewart.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our Communiversity Today. Again, we're visiting with Dr. John Deskins, West Virginia's economist, and also the president for the day at WVU Tech, none other than President Sam Houston. And so, Dr. Deskins, you know, obviously you participated in the second annual Future Forward here in Raleigh County. And as you look at the economy and you think about the work you've done, and the reason I call you West Virginia's economist, what are some of the highlights when you were at Future Forward? Some of the things that you found were very interesting as it relates to our economy here in Southern West Virginia?
Well, let me see. For one thing, let me say thanks for having me. I love being here. Every time I travel to Raleigh County, I always have a great time. Love the people down here. At the conference this morning, we talked about kind of where we stand in the New River Gorge region, the Beckley region. We talked about some of our strengths, some of our weaknesses, some of our challenges, some of our opportunities. And we talked about kind of what we need to do to move forward.
Now, when you talk about the New River Gorge region, what areas are you talking about? Are there specific counties?
Well, I just work with the New River Gorge Development Authority, and their coverage area is Nicholas, Summers, Raleigh, and Fayette counties. And so the numbers that I presented this morning just covered those 4 counties.
Excellent. And, I think that's very important because when you think about those 3 or 4 counties you mentioned, they're some of the largest in what I call the Southern 13, which are the 13 counties that comprise Southern West Virginia. So as you were looking at those counties and you thinking about where they are, what did you observe?
Well, not to start with the negative, but one of the biggest negatives for this region is labor force participation. This is a challenge for West Virginia altogether, but it's an especially big challenge for the New River Gorge region. So labor force participation, the statistic captures the share of the adult population that's either working or looking for work. And unfortunately, it's less than 50% in all 4 of these counties. Nationally, the figure is something like 62 or 63%. In West Virginia altogether, it's 55%, but we're less than half in this region. And I think that's our biggest economic development challenge. I think that's something that we absolutely have to focus on, work on, and we're never going to get to where we want to be unless we can get more of our people in the workforce and improve that statistic.
So do you find that that is unique to Southern West Virginia or those counties in the New River Gorge development area, or is this a phenomenon throughout the state of West Virginia?
It's statewide, and we have some variation within West Virginia, of course, but it's a little bit more severe in the southern part of the state. McDowell County, I think, is the lowest. It's I think less than 30% in McDowell County. It's extremely severe there. Summers County, it's in the 30% range, 40% range for the other 3 counties in the region. But it's statewide, but a bit more severe down here.
Yeah, as a native of the free state of McDowell County, it pains me all the time, to think that up until the mid-90s, we had the second largest FDIC bank failure in the nation's history, which meant we had a lot of money, which is why they used to call us the billion-dollar coal field. And now we are one of the most impoverished counties in all of not only West Virginia, but in the nation. And so one of the things when you look at economic development and the growth and workforce participation, what are some things that need to be considered to try to change that dynamic?
Well, the reason we have this low rate of labor force participation relates to human capital, relates to problems around education and training, relates to problems around poor health, problems around drug abuse. We have a lot of people in West Virginia who would like to be working. They'd like to be in the workforce. They'd like to be earning a living. They'd like to be successful, contributing to the community, but they can't do it for some reason. They can't do it because they have a health problem that's keeping them out of the workforce. They can't do it because they've become addicted to drugs. They don't, drug addiction is very complicated. It's very sad. It's very tragic. For whatever reason, the people have become addicted. That's keeping people out of the workforce. We have some people in West Virginia who would like to work, but they don't have the right education or training. They're not prepared for the workforce, so they're not out there looking for work because they know they're not going to get a job that's to their liking because of their poor skills. So one of the big things we have to do is fight this public health crisis, fight this drug abuse problem, fight against the poor education and training outcomes that we have in West Virginia. If we can invest in these areas, invest in our people, improve our human capital outcomes, that'll help those people individually, their friends, their families, but it will also make West Virginia more attractive to potential businesses, make more businesses excited about coming here.
So I think that's interesting, Dr. Deskins, because you say making investments in human capital. And again, we have through our President for the Day program at WVU Tech, none other than President Samuel Houston, who is a 10th grader. And Samuel, as you went to the particular event and you've heard the different things and you hear about the drug and opioid epidemic and the things that have plagued Southern West Virginia and West Virginia as a whole, what do you think you as a young person should be focusing on right now in order to become a productive citizen in West Virginia? What are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Stewart. First of all, for having me here today. It's an incredible honor. And when it comes to, life as a younger person looking for what they're wanting to do when it comes to education or, vocation, I just really think the question is, how do we give these younger people, especially in the workforce, how do we spark purpose? And I think that's something it's a struggle, for younger people getting into college and figuring out, what they want to do with, when it comes to jobs or their profession, or even people just getting straight into the workforce, why they're doing it, how they can make a difference. And I think that's hopefully a question that can lead to, your question, why not us?
And I love that, this notion of purpose,
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Deskins, when you think about purpose and you think about a term that I heard you use recently, and I think it's something called NIMBY. Tell me more about NIMBY and how that can potentially impact negatively on purpose.
Well, yeah, the NIMBY problem's we're moving kind of from a happy topic to a sad topic here. NIMBY, it stands for not in my backyard. So at the conference this morning, I mentioned some potential opportunities that we have. And one of the opportunities that I mentioned is to bring a data center to West Virginia. Data centers have a lot of benefits that they can bring with them, and data centers are popping up rapidly across the country with the development of artificial intelligence. And I mentioned a data center as one of the most immediate economic development wins that we can probably achieve in West Virginia and even here in the New River Gorge region. Somebody made a comment in the audience that a lot of people want a data center, they want a factory, they want some economic development achievement, but they don't want it right next to where they live. They don't want it in their backyard. They don't want it right in their community. And I understand that. We want all the benefits that come along with economic development, but we don't want any of the negatives. We don't want more traffic, more congestion, more people around everywhere. We want to have our cake and eat it too. So the NIMBY problem is an impediment to economic development, but it's kind of the real world. I mean, if we're going to bring in new opportunities, if we're going to bring in more people, it's going to mean more congestion, more traffic, maybe more headaches in various ways. But a lot of benefits, a lot of positives also come with economic development. So.
Yeah, when I heard you mention an NIMBY, it made me think of something that I say oftentimes. I call it jelly. And, you think about some of the things that plague us here in southern West Virginia and throughout the state and the nation. Our obesity rates, our high unemployment rates, different things. We have a lot of jelly, okay? But I think jelly stands for just exactly like last year, okay? And so when you think about NIMBY and jelly, then I look to you, Mr. President, how does a young person feel about being able to change the things that have always been in order to have a more prosperous future in West Virginia?
Yeah, it's really difficult, coming back to how we can change, the past and the future. And that just goes back to, how are we going to, as a younger generation, move forward? What do we want? What are we doing? What do we want to do when we move forward? What's the end goal for us? And I think, that first of all influences, changing what has been, is having, vision for the future.
I think that's perfect, Mr. President and Dr. Deskins. And so I tell you what, we're going to take a quick break real quick and ask our audience to stay tuned for News Talk WWNR for more Our Communiversity today.
Find out how you can be a part of the Communiversity family, like Pendleton Community Bank, your bank for generations, the City of Beckley, the Beckley-Raleigh County Chamber of Commerce, Cucumber and Company. Visit Southern West Virginia, the Resort at Glade Springs, and this Southern Communications Station. Find out more at southernwvmedia.com. With more Communiversity today, here's Dr. Stewart.
I want to welcome you back to Our Communiversity today. Again, in studio with us is West Virginia's economist, Dr. John Deskins of West Virginia University, and also our president for the day, a man with a very, very neat name, President Sam Houston. And so we're still talking about economic development. And Dr. Deskins, when I first arrived here about 2.5 years ago, I reached out to you, and I appreciate you for answering the call. I wanted to do an economic impact study here for WVU Tech. I'm a firm believer that people need to know who we are. People need to know what we do. But most importantly, they need to be assured that we can, shall, and will do it for them too. And so through your work and the work of your talented colleagues, we learned about the $35 million economic impact that WVU Tech has on Southern West Virginia. You told us about the more than 250 people that work here, where we pay an average salary of $57,500. And so we believe that we are an economic juggernaut. And so what are some of your thoughts on the role that higher education plays in economic growth and development?
Oh boy, that's the easiest question I've had all day. A university is absolutely essential to a healthy community. WVU Tech puts a lot of money in the community through its employees, through its spending, but it brings young people to the area. It produces young people who can be doctors and lawyers and dentists and any profession in the area. It provides life. It provides vigor in the community. It provides arts events, entertainment events that help the students, but also reach out to the broader community. When we did that study for you a few years ago, it just looked at the spending. It was just the spending boost that WVU Tech generates for the Raleigh County region. That's good. That's important. But there's so much more. If I move around, I always want to live in an area that has a university, because the young people, the vibrancy, the life, the entertainment, everything that it does for the community in terms of improving quality of life, making the area more attractive to potential residents and potential businesses.
And I was reading somewhere where people call colleges and universities the modern day factories, because not only do they bring in products like talented young people, but they produce graduates that can actually go out and contribute positively to society. But one of the things is, and I watch this all the time, we bring people in, we meet them where they are, and we help them go to places they never dreamed of going. You walk across the stage, we know that of all institutions, the 42 public and private 2- and 4-year institutions in the state of West Virginia, you get a degree from us, the number one return on investment from your degree. So, you put some in, you get a whole lot out. But then there becomes the true challenge. We walk people across the stage, and when we do, they inadvertently become part of something you talk about in terms of the vicious cycle of economic development in West Virginia. So could you talk about that a little bit more?
Well, sure. Universities are an important part of it, but we also have to find a way to keep those young graduates here. That means we have to provide them with job opportunities and good quality of life. But the vicious cycle is a way that I explain the situation that many of our counties find themselves in. Vicious cycle, to make it quick, it started historically with a lack of industrial diversification. So many of our communities were dominated by one specific industry, coal in our case, of course. That's not a good thing. You want a diversified industrial mix. Within that dominant industry, it suffers a shock. We've lost over 85% of our coal jobs over time. When the shock occurs, people have to move away to find new jobs. I myself am an out-migrant from an old coal mining community. When people move away, the out-migrants tend to be younger, healthier, better educated, better prepared for the workforce. This leaves the area more sparsely populated, older on average, less healthy, less educated on average, less attractive to potential businesses. So this whole cycle, it leads to this downward spiral, or at least this vicious cycle where the area wasn't diversified in the first place. A shock happens, people move away, the area then becomes less attractive to potential businesses, and now growth and diversification is harder than it was in the first place. So what we have to think about in West Virginia in terms of economic development is finding a way to break that cycle, finding a way to create positive momentum. And I'll be honest with you, it's hard. It's not easy to do. There's not an easy silver bullet answer. It's hard to break that cycle.
And so when you think about that cycle, Mr. President, you think about you being a young person here in this region. What are some things that you think we could do to start to try to reverse that trend, just from the perspective of the lens of a 10th grader?
Yeah, well, first, West Virginia is one of the most beautiful states. We have some of the most incredible, mountains and some, awesome vacation spots. But something that, stands out to you is community. And something that's incredible that, our Communiversity is doing is it's building a vision, not just, to make our communities better, but for us to come together as a family and build a better life for all of us. And so I think, vision, having that vision of a, community coming together. And it's hard, and I don't have an exact answer of how you do that, but it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful state, and that's what we need. Is we need the ability to come together and unite and build it back.
Excellent. And I think that's the thing. So why not us? I think we've talked about it. So Dr. Deskins, why not now?
Well, not now because of that vicious cycle, but I think it can be us soon. I think we have potential. We have a lot to build on. Following up on President Houston's comments, we have amazing outdoor amenities. We can do more to leverage these, to sell these, to market these, to make West Virginia an attractive place to keep our young people here, to make West Virginia an attractive place to get people to move in. And by the way, I presented some bad statistics this morning, but also presented a really good statistic about in-migration. West Virginia, for 5 years in a row now, has seen more people moving in than we've seen moving out. And the number's gotten bigger. So we have some momentum there. We can encourage in-migration. It's not us now because of this vicious cycle, but we can turn it around. We can curve it, and it can be us soon. So there's some positives out there.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we try to do at our Communiversity today is we try to encourage people to think about, again, why not us and why not now, but also to try to connect some of those dots, to try to bring in business and industry and education. What are some dots that we need to connect in West Virginia?
What are some dots? Well, human capital is one of them, as I said already. That's one dot. We have to focus on other cornerstone economic development principles like better roads, better infrastructure, better broadband access in parts of our state. Another dot is we need to continue to push to make West Virginia attractive to those traditional economic development type businesses, large manufacturing firms, for example. We have potential with businesses here and there that we can draw in. And the last dot, I think, is quality of life, making West Virginia attractive to our young people and to potential out-of-state people. Education, health, drug abuse, traditional economic development infrastructure measures, quality of life amenities, and traditional economic development in terms of providing sites, providing access, providing locations for businesses that want to settle here. I think those are four of the key dots. They're not easy to overcome, but they have to come together to ultimately make us achieve our potential.
Yeah, and I think that potential is so limitless, and when you think about why not us and why not now, and then those particular dots that we have the opportunity to connect, are there impediments to that connectivity?
Well, there are impediments. Definitely we have impediments. We have, because of the vicious cycle that we've been in, because of the losses, our tax base is low. We don't have all the money that we need to be able to invest in education and infrastructure. That's an impediment. Our topography, it's one of our greatest assets, but it's also a challenge because we have fewer industrial sites. Road infrastructure is more difficult and more expensive. That's an impediment. Our biggest impediment, not to beat a dead horse, but just the fact that we have an older population, a shrinking population, the fact that we have so many people who aren't in the workforce, that's an impediment. And there's a lot of policy uncertainty at the national level, which it trickles down to create uncertainty and perhaps a pause on investment in West Virginia right now until we resolve national uncertainty. So we have our share of impediments. No worries there.
Yeah, and so when I think about that connectivity and those impediments, and I think about Communiversity and where the community is the university and university is the community, I like connectivity because I'm a firm believer that all ships should rise with the tide. And so we had a Communiversity partner come in today, none other than Richard Gerald, the owner operator of the Chick-fil-A's in Beckley that's retiring soon. And not only that, Richard Gerald sent over some special Chick-fil-A for you, along with the new owner operator of the Galleria store, Kelsey Delgado. and the new owner-operator of the Harper Road Chick-fil-A, Charles Fisher. So we're going to take some moments to enjoy a little bit of Chick-fil-A, and we will ask our guests to join us in a few minutes for more Our Communiversity Today on WWNR Radio. I believe that the community should be the university and the university should be the community. And today we stand shoulder to shoulder, Pendleton Community Bank and WVU Tech, not just educationally, but also financially.
Community banks and community bankers build better communities. And so the notion of the Communiversity just came together. I thought, that's exactly what we do. The way I see the role that we play is not only a financial partner, but also an advocate. One that we can advocate for WVU Tech and the mission within the community and how we can work together to both increase financial education as well as traditional education.
I think that not only builds lifelong financial literacy, but it also speaks to the value of a community bank.
As you said many times, when they graduate, we want them to work here, we want them to live here, to play here, and to raise a family here. Part of the education process starts early, and we want them to both learn financial education, but also learn that there is opportunities and rewards for doing good as you go forward in life, and always to strive to be your best.
I just appreciate Pendleton Community Bank for stepping forward and saying, not only do we want to be one of the founding sponsors, but we want to continue to help our university and our community, because when we grow, you grow, and when we both grow, this whole area prospers. You meet people where they are, and you help them go places they never dreamed of going.
Find out more about how you can be a part of the Communiversity. Visit wwnrradio.com. Now back to the program.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again, it's been an honor to have West Virginia's economist, Dr. John Deskins, and also our president for the day, Mr. Samuel Houston. As we look and we think about why not us and why not now, Dr. Deskins, do you have any closing thoughts on the economy in West Virginia?
Here's my closing thought. Economic development is complicated, and it requires a lot of people to come together. People from business, people from nonprofits, people from entrepreneurial space, people from education, people from government. This podcast, this radio show, the conference this morning, WVU Tech, all that we can do to bring us all together to work towards a common goal in West Virginia, it's vital and important because it takes all of us to work together to fit in our different parts into the economic development puzzle. Happy to be part of this discussion. We need more and more of stuff like this to bring us all together towards that goal of making West Virginia more prosperous.
Thank you, Dr. Deskins. Mr. President.
Yeah, if I could actually just give, honestly, a word of encouragement to this next generation. To close up, I would say it's up to us. We need to start doing, and we're the next ones to stand up and start bringing these pieces together. So yeah, that would be my encouragement and hope for the next generation, is to see what a beautiful place and state we're in and bring that together.
Ladies and gentlemen, you see why Mr. Sam Houston is president for the day at WVU Tech. You heard the young man build upon the words and the wisdom of Dr. Deskins, and he realizes that he is the future. But one of the keys to this is we must pave the way, but we must understand that we need to get out of the way also. And so as we look to build Southern West Virginia, our nation, and our world, and by answering two questions, why not us and why not now, we need to be keenly focused on the current and future economic trends so that we can work together to make sure that our communiversity is strong and vibrant, but most importantly, it will be that infrastructure for future West Virginians to grow and develop. Have a great day.
You've been listening to Our Communiversity Today, a production of West Virginia University Institute of Technology and Communiversity partner, Southern Communications in Beckley. This program and contact information is available on our website and our mobile app at wwnrradio.com. Join us next week for our Communiversity Today.